Did you know your door number can tell you where you're at in life? I know it sounds far-fetched, but stick with me. Numbers are way more important than our society makes out. They can tell us the energy of something, including ourselves. Numbers 1 to 9 hold a different energy, and whenever you're reviewing a number, you want to keep adding until you get a single number. So if you had the number 13, you would add 1 plus 3. However, when we're talking about door numbers, that would be an energy of a 4, but it would also contain a 1 and a 3. I'm not going to overcomplicate this video too much, and I'm just going to stick to reviewing the 4 number of a 13 as opposed to the 1 and the 3 that would be included in it. So we can review so much through numbers, like what stage of life you're in, what your life path, like your general theme of your life is, even what door number, the energy of the home that you live in is. I've genuinely, over many years, walked past houses and guessed what number the houses are before I've even looked, because it's that obvious. This energy is the energy of the home you're living in, but you've attracted that energy. This is where you're at in your life and you're attracted to this. So if, say, you move into a new flat and it's a 9 flat, then that's where you're at in your life and that's what you need. So none of these numbers are good or bad. They're just different perspectives, just different energies. And this doesn't mean this is you entirely, this is you for good. This is just where you're at right now. If you live at a number that equates to 1, this is a busy house. This is like a self-starter house, people in and out. It's the place. I have noticed growing up, whenever we've all gone to one person's house, it's usually a 1 house, or sometimes can be a 5. But that 1 energy, it's very fresh energy, people coming in, people coming out, a lot of things going on. It attracts a lot of like self-starters, people that are very busy in their lives, got a lot going on. And the 1 in general is a very fresh, new initiative energy. It's particularly a house of independence. So it's like, I'll do it. I'm the leader. Let's go. That's the energy of the house. So if you live in a house like that, that's probably a place you're in your life. If you live at a number that equates to 2, this is a slower paced home. Very different to the 1. It can be quite dated and quite slower to change, so the decor can be quite dated for whatever reason. The energy of the 2 is focused on emotions and feelings. So this is a home that maybe is very concentrated on a relationship, or just the vibe of the home is heavy for the emotions. So if you've attracted a 2 energy in your life, then maybe that's where you're at. Maybe the relationship focus is a big one, or maybe there's just a lot of emotions and feelings fluttering around. That's the main theme for you right now. And so therefore that's the home that you're in for now. If you live in a number that equates to 3, this is a very creative and can be kind of chaotic, not necessarily in a bad way, just a lot of different things going on, a lot of things popping off. It's not very organized, it's not very grounded, it's very creative. That's the main theme. So if you're focused on any kind of creative endeavor, writing, filming, designing, whatever it may be, it makes sense that this home is drawn to you. It's a very expressive home. I'd imagine it's very social, a lot of people coming in and out, a lot of conversations happening in the home, but a very fun home, and I would say quite a whirlwind. If you live at a number that equates to 4, this is a very structured, organised, hard-working home. So if you're at that place in your life where you're building something, you're very organised, you've got a structured life, it would make sense that the 4 is drawn to you. It's very stable, very practical. When things need to get done, they get done. There may always be something that needs to get done because the 4 is a working number, but you will probably get it done. If you live at a number that equates to 5, this is a very spontaneous, adventurous, expressive home. It looks and feels similar to the 3, but it's a lot more expansive. So the 3 was very creative. It's a whirlwind of energy. In that sense, it can be quite similar. If you have any addictive tendencies, a 3 and a 5 aren't really ideal, but they'll probably have you gravitate towards them because they're fun and they're freeing. If you have something like a 59 or a 39, because the 9's involved, but it still equates to just a 5 or a 3, there can be addictions that get involved, not always. And it could be extreme addictions and not so extreme addictions, you know, just constant thrill seeking. So the 5 is that real thrill seeking. I would say the 3 is a lot more creative. The 5 is that I want to feel something. The 5 is very spontaneous. So things change a lot. Anything can happen. And maybe you switch up the house quite a lot. Maybe there's just a lot going on and adventures And it would probably attract people that are freedom seekers, people that change up all the time. Maybe there's a lot of people coming in and out the house, or you live there for a couple of months, next person's in, lives there for a couple of months. It could be just be one of those changing energies. And a very social home as well, and maybe a lot of parties. It can be the fun house. If you live at a number that equates to 6, this is the ultimate home number. 6 is the number for family, responsibility, the home. It's a really nice feel of a house. It can be associated with building a family and that really homey, comfortable life. This should feel like a real nice safe haven. And the main theme of this home is home life, comfortable, nice sanctuary home life. You may have attracted this home because you're building a family, or you just want a really nice home. You really care about your home. Maybe you're a homebody and this place means a lot to you. And I do find you can see that when you walk past the 6th house, obviously depending if there's any other numbers involved, but generally speaking, it just feels quite cozy is what I would probably describe it as. If you live at a number that equates to 7, this is a very introspective, deep, spiritual home. And what I mean by spiritual is it's a lot of inner work that's being done around this energy as opposed to outer. So this can be a very private home. This can feel quite lonely, maybe. Not necessarily, but this could be a time in your life where you just need to be alone, and you need this reflection and introspection. Or maybe you're a researcher and you like reading books and getting into things, and that's your home for now, because it draws people that are healers, that are thinkers, that are looking at the deeper or heavier side of life. Or it could be people that are kind of just fallen into a situation where they're forced to kind of be alone for whatever reason. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be good or bad. It could be, but one thing it is it's quite deep. So whether you wanted that or not, this home is a deeper home. But again, you have to look at the other numbers involved. So they'll have a touch of a different number. If it's a 34, 3 and a 4, there's a lot more going on there. But either way, the theme of it will be that lone wolf, reflection, deep, spiritual vibe to it. It's very soulful, and a lot of growth can happen here. That's a big one for 7, is that it's about growth, inner, internal growth. If you live at a number that equates to 8, then this is a home of abundance, status, money. That's what the energy of the 8 is. The 8's about money, it's about status, it's about recognition. So the home may look like that, and you may be at a place in your life where you're building a lot of material wealth, or you want to, and you're very ambitious or very success orientated. There may have been a lot of money that was spent on the house. That's probably what I would notice on a street if I saw it an 8, or if I guessed an 8. It would probably be the flashiest one on the street, or something like that, where there's been a lot of money that's been pumped into it. It's big on status. It would attract a similar person to the 4, someone that's working hard, that's ambitious, that's got a lot of drive and a lot of energy. However, the 8 is a lot more showy. The 4 is the background builder. So they're not very showy with it. They just get things done. The 8 is like, I'm king of the castle. So that can show out in your house and what it looks like, or wherever you live. Obviously, that sometimes isn't that obvious if you don't have a lot of money, but that might be something that you're very focused on, or you would like to happen. If you live at a number that equates to the number 9, this is again a very deep, soulful house, similar to the 7. The 7 is a lot more about going in. The 9 is a selfless number. It's not about you anymore, it's about others. And that may reflect in many ways, such as someone passing away, so you now look after them, or it could be that you're just at a very wise, introspective part of your life, and where you're coming at things is it's not about you anymore. Maybe you're very charitable or something like that, but it is quite a heavy house. So remember, this is a home. So even if you had a lot of themes in your personal numerology to do with the 9, and you were someone that was very deep and empathetic and compassionate, that's one thing. But living in the home is reflecting that that's the energy of the home, which it's quite heavy for your home sanctuary, and that would reflect where you're at in life. But the deeper meaning of the 9 is about helping others, and it is about the bigger picture. It's a spiritual number. It's beyond yourself and your ego. It's more about just compassion and empathy. And so having that in the home, like I say, can be quite heavy, and there can be a lot of themes that are heavier. It's very deep and soulful and a place to reflect. Like I say, similar to the 7, but I think less about yourself and more about humanity or someone you care about or just the world in general. So from the outside of the home, I wouldn't say a 1 is very obvious. If you've got somebody on your street and you see them back and forth and here and there and everyone in the house is doing something, that's usually equates to a 1. But visually, I don't think the 1 is that distinctive. A 2 is very distinctive. It's usually the dated one, or the one that might seem a little bit just kind of left because things are a lot slower. And it doesn't mean it's got to be bad. Like, it can be really cozy and nice, but it's still quite dated. That's what I noticed. A 3 and a 5 look similar. Just a lot going on. A lot of energy in the home. There could be bikes outside. There could be, you know, they're too busy to do things that need to be done. A lot of 3s and 5s look like that. None of these houses have to be bad or good. It's just something like common themes I notice with them. So with the 3, a lot of things are going on and you can kind of see it from the outside of the house. The 4 looks organised. Maybe there's been renovation. It kind of looks not necessarily new, but it can do. It just looks on point. It looks organised and structured and quite clear. I wouldn't say it's as distinctive because it can kind of just look like a well-kept home. Again, it's not always like that. It could be maybe a different version of, you know, a lot's going on. Maybe there's renovations going on or something. But I tend to see the 4 as quite clean and, you know, on form. The 5 looks similar to the 3 from the outside. So just kind of chaotic and not in a bad way. Just there's a lot going on. There's maybe people around, there's bikes around, there's multiple cars, whatever's going on. There's just a lot going on because it's an adventurous home. This 6 tends to give cozy, homely, cozy, well maintained. This is where like a 4 and a 6 it could be hard to distinguish between, but the 6 is very much more cozy and homey. The 4 is more like clean and disciplined, but again, it's not always as obvious as that. There are certain numbers like the 2, the 3, the 5, the 7, the 9 sometimes that are a little bit more obvious. There are certain numbers like a 6, which I don't think is that obvious. It just looks like quite a well-kept home, but a nice home, nice feeling home. The 7 is usually a heavier home, so it can look like there's been a heaviness attached to it. It's not always obvious from the outside, but if I'm walking down a street and I see a house on that road that has maybe been abandoned or there's just a heaviness to it, I'm going to guess it's a 2 or a 7. Now, this doesn't mean if you live in a 2 or a 7, that's going to be you. I think I'm just distinguishing the really obvious houses, and they always seem to be those numbers. I think that's just kind of an extreme. And to be honest, that house could be a 97, so that equates to a 7, and it's got a 9 attached to it too. So it could be a lot heavier than if you had a 34 house. A lot of dark nights of the soul can be attached to a 7, and however that reflects in a home from the outside, it can be looking like that. 8 looks like Empire. It looks like kind of similar to the 4, but a bit more flashy. It looks like you've spent a lot of money on the house. So if I'm seeing it from the outside, it looks like there's a lot going on. It's more obvious to see what a house looks like compared to the other houses on the road. So they could be a similar built house, but what's the energy attached to that home is quite obvious. And a 9 house, I don't think it looks as obvious as a 7, but there is a heaviness to it, but I don't think it looks like a 7 from what I tend to see. Yeah, it's a heavier home, and sometimes you can see that from the outside, but like I say, I don't find it's as obvious as a 7. I think because a 7's like a dark night of the soul. It's really, you know, you're really going in, and maybe you're looking at a lot of your shadow traits or experiencing things that are related to that. Whereas the 9, I don't find it's as obviously reflected at the looking at a house as the 7 is, and I don't know why, but that's just what I've seen over the years. But let me know what number you live at. Let me know if you relate to any of these themes. Sometimes it can be kind of hard to pick up on at first. After like noticing a lot of these themes, a lot of these houses, there does become a general theme. So yeah, let me know. And that's my 2 cents. Thank you for watching.